Hello. You know, I like to discuss the events of 2008. Now, if you're young, you might not be too aware of what happened in 2008, but it was a stock market crash, the world economy crash, and it was brought on by Republicans trying to raise taxes without raising taxes. And after 2008, all the house prices were double, if not triple what they were before. So that raises taxes because taxes are a percentage of your home value. So if your home value goes up, your taxes go up. So, and it has a ripple effect, and it's like a pebble in a lake, and it spreads out and touches everything. The price of cars went up, the price of gas went up, the price of insurance went up. Uh, the FDIC was 100,000, and now it's 250. Federal deposit insurance. Uh, they raised the federal deposit insurance after the crash of 2008. Obama saved the car manufacturers in Detroit. The whole United States car manufacturing was going to be no more if he didn't do what he did. And some cars don't exist anymore because of that, like the Pontiac. And, you know, the Republicans were in charge with Bush. Bush was in charge. And they knew the crash was coming. They knew it was coming. There was no doubt it was coming. They didn't say anything because they didn't want to lose the election. The election of 2008, in which Obama was elected, and he was running against McCain, John McCain, the Republican candidate. And they didn't say anything because they didn't want McCain to lose. And the market crashed before McCain was elected. And that's a big reason McCain was not elected. And we have our first black president, and it had to do a lot with the crash of 2008, why we had Obama. They trusted Obama as opposed to trusting another Republican to fix the problem they created. And McCain wouldn't have fixed the problem anyway. So, because he's part of the problem. And, you know, Obama, whether or not he did a good job, is something for the history books to look at. Uh, he created Obamacare in his first term. Uh, he had the Congress, he had the Senate and the House, so he could do it. But he knew he didn't have it for long. So he had to do what he could do when he had it. And that's what he did. And he did Obamacare. Uh, he could have done other things like abortion, but he didn't. And I, you know, you say you trust Obama, and look, he's a politician. You can never trust a politician. I don't care how good they sound. I don't care what you think of them. You can't trust them. Uh, they have a lot of strings being pulled on them, and they are nothing more than a puppet. And there is a puppet master involved, and you don't know who the puppet master is. Just like when you go to a puppet show, you don't know who's pulling the strings in the puppet show. You just see the puppet, and you're not supposed to see the strings, even though you do. But the guy pulling the strings, is all dressed in black, and he's hiding in the back, and you don't know who he is. It's just like Kermit the Frog. When you see him on the Muppets, you don't see the hand up in Kermit's neck, operating Kermit. Uh, you just see Kermit the Frog, and Kermit the Frog is a puppet. And, you know, so That's what Obama is. But Obama's covering the fraud. So you can't trust Obama, and you can't trust anyone in politics and in life in general because everyone is a puppet except me. Uh, and most people are puppets, whether they're authentic or fake. To a degree, they're puppets. Different degrees, but still puppets. You're raised that way. You're indoctrinated that way. You're brainwashed that way, and you've done it. They do it to you at birth, um, and they did it to your parents, and they did it to their parents. So it's very hard for you to be isolated or not be affected by the indoctrination process, which is your news, your schools, your sports. Um, look at how crazy New York went over the Knicks. And I'm not trying to take away from what the Knicks did, but it took them 53 years to win a championship. So I don't consider them a great team. You know, the Bulls won it like 6 times, and the Celtics, I don't know how many times they won it, but a bunch. And those are great teams. The Knicks is not a great team. Lucky, they got lucky, but they're not a great team. If they win 6 more times, all right, I'll change my opinion. But until then, they're not a great team. Uh, and it's pretty amazing. It's pretty sad too, because if you go through Manhattan and you look at any playground, there's a basketball court, and depending on the time of the year, they're all full. They're all full of kids playing basketball and adults playing basketball. And there are a lot of basketball courts in New York, and there are a lot of people that play basketball. And it's amazing it took 53 years to get a pennant. And it is what it is. So I digress. I digress. I don't want to talk about the Knicks, but it's just how people are indoctrinated into thinking what they think, and they wear the shirt, they wear the hat because they're proving they're indoctrinated. You know, this is my hat. I'm not indoctrinated. I'm not. Nobody else has this hat, and if you do, you stole it from me. So it's just that if you wear a MAGA hat, you're indoctrinated. You know, so and it says a lot about who you are and what kind of person you are. And for the most part, I don't see MAGA hats anywhere because I think they're pretty embarrassed. They're pretty regretting. It's like pulling the trigger and wishing you didn't, and that's what they did. And no matter what you do, you can't put the bullet back in the gun. Once you pull the trigger, it's done, and that's what they did. And now they're regretting it. And people that sit in jail for the rest of their life because they regret what they did. And MAGA people deserve to do that too. And look, I could say I forgive them, um, but they're not the type of people that deserve forgiveness. They showed no forgiveness for immigrants or blacks or gays or DEI or whatever you want to call it, or women. They showed no forgiveness for them. So if you want forgiveness, you have to give forgiveness, and uh, they don't. They don't give it. They don't have it. They're greedy. They're mine, and that's all they care about is themselves. They don't care about their families. They don't even care about their dog. All they care about is their truck and their guns. So, you know, but, you know, and Trump is really pissed off at Obama, not only because Obama embarrassed him at the news dinner, the what is it? I forget the name of it. It's the dinner at the Hilton that they had the little fake shooting at, and set up shooting so he can get his ballroom. And you know, correspondence dinner. That's it. And Obama embarrassed him. And, Trump is really embarrassed because a black man won 2 terms as a president, 2 straight terms. and Trump had to lose one, and and he only got one term, and then he had to lose one, and then he got another one, and that really eats at his ego. That eats at who the man that he is, who he thinks he is, and to have a black man beat him in that way with the correspondence dinner as well, and he he humiliated him in that dinner, and the narcissist that he is, he never got over that. That lives in his head every single day. And now he's getting more humiliated when he made the entirely worst deal with Iran that he could possibly make, and Obama had a better deal, and Obama didn't have to go to war, and he didn't have to give him $300 billion, and he didn't lift the sanctions on the oil. So, you know, how would Trump could walk away and say, I got a better deal? Well, that's because he's a narcissist and he'll never admit that he made a mistake. Just like, somebody vandalized the reflection pool and nobody vandalized it. It was a payoff to a Trump contributor. The guy contributed money to Trump's campaign and Trump gave him a $15 million contract. And that's all that was. Quid pro quo. And that's why the paint peeled, because the guy just wanted the money and he used the wrong paint. Shouldn't have painted it in the first place. I wouldn't have painted it in the first place. You could have emptied it, you could have cleaned it, but you didn't have to paint it. So, uh, you know, a blunder of blunders. But every success that Trump has is a blunder that they lie about and turn into a success through the lies. And all of this is all distraction from Epstein files. They don't want to talk about the Epstein files, so they love talking about the reflection pool, you know, and that's all this is all about. The Iran war is the Epstein file distraction, and that's all it's about, you know. And it's about turning crypto as the main currency, Trump's crypto as the main currency of the world, and that's his real goal. So, and he's going to do it by crashing the U.S. See, devil doesn't want me to talk. Crashing the U.S. dollar. If he can crash the U.S. dollar, he can replace it with his own crypto, and that's his goal. So just mark my words. And if he doesn't do it in this term, the Republicans are going to do it, and they're not going to give up on that. They want the crypto because all they care about is money. They don't care about you and putting you in the poorhouse. Look what they did in 2008. If there's a book, Too Big to Fail, go read it. It's about 2008. And there's another book, 1929. Go read it, written by the same guy. It's about the crash of 1929. There's many correlations between the two, and you know, if you don't read and you don't educate yourself, then you can't blame anybody else because you're stupid. It's your fault. It's what you didn't do, not what you did do. It's what you didn't do, and you know, I don't know. Life, life is a puzzle. It's a puzzle, and it's hard to find the right piece. But like when you make a puzzle, you don't give up until you find the right piece, and you don't give up until the puzzle's done. And that's what we're doing here. We're putting a puzzle together, and you know, it's not impossible. Um, we know all the pieces are there, and we know what the picture looks like when it's done. So we have a lot more than a lot of people, and you know, but Trump tries to hide some pieces so you can't put it together, and that's the problem. But we know where they are, and we don't really need them to get the full picture. We can see the picture without them. And he's scamming the country. He's scamming all of you. and it's not going to last. He's not going to be successful. My problem is he might pass away before he ever faces any consequences, and I hope his family faces consequences because they all know what he's doing, and they're all party to it. And the only authentic one in the family, I think, is Melania. Melania hates him. She won't even hold his hand, and you know, she came from a different country, different world, and she wasn't she wasn't indoctrinated and brainwashed like his family. So she doesn't have the same teaching or upbringing as the family, and she hates his guts. And for whatever reason, she's staying with him. Probably the son, and you know, she lives in Florida and he lives in D.C. And I'm sure when he's in D.C., they don't live in the same bedroom. So and I think she's a dominatrix. I think she's his dominatrix, and I wouldn't be surprised. She looks very like a dominatrix, and I bet she whips him and handcuffs him and all that crazy dominatrix stuff. So I used to know dominatrix. I used to know a couple of girls who were dominatrix, and they told me all the things that they do, and the people that are their clients were CEOs of companies and big bosses in companies and stuff, and um, they love the dominatrix. They love getting whipped. They love getting talked down to beg for whatever they want them to beg for and stuff. And it's a sickness, but those girls make a lot of money when they do that. Melania got billions, so you can't say she was dumb, but uh, I don't think she's happy with her decision now. She's stuck with a man that doesn't love her, and I don't think she's capable of love any more than he is. But that's it.